There are places that never disappeared from the map. For centuries, people simply kept looking at them through the wrong answers. Beneath the water, inside the ice, or among silent stretches of stone, each new discovery makes what once seemed certain become questionable again. And as those pieces gradually come together, Earth reveals itself to be far stranger than humanity ever knew. Along Turkey's Mediterranean coast, Myra lies quietly beneath layers of silt deep enough to bury a three-story building. Rock-cut tombs rise from the cliff face like the last traces of a city that never truly disappeared. Standing before this place, time seems to have come to a halt. Few people realize that Myra was not destroyed by war or earthquakes. Over thousands of years, the Myros River silently covered the city with layers of silt ranging from 13 to 30 feet thick. Above those layers of earth, the largest Roman theater in Lycia still stands, once accommodating around 11,000 spectators, nearly matching the capacity of Red Rocks Amphitheater in Colorado. What the river buried is precisely what it accidentally preserved. Hundreds of rock-cut tombs still retain their facades, carved to imitate wooden architecture, from roof beams to joinery. Even a chapel sealed since the 13th century still forms a perfect cross when sunlight enters at the exact angle calculated centuries ago. Those secrets do not end there. In early 2026, archaeologists identified a 1,850-year-old Roman structure that had been mistaken for a fountain for more than 6 decades. In reality, it was a thermal healing spa that used mineral springs rich in magnesium and sulfur, with water that remains around 62 degrees Fahrenheit even in the middle of summer. The very river that once sustained Myra's prosperity also quietly buried the entire city, turning it into a gigantic time machine beneath the ground. Every layer of silt uncovered today may reveal another chapter of history that Myra has preserved for thousands of years. Hidden within the Tianmen mountains of Hunan, Heaven's Gate opens like a gigantic gap between the sky and the cliffs. A winding road clings to the mountainside before leading to the towering natural stone arch, where every step forward makes the ground seem to fall farther away behind you. The journey to Heaven's Gate begins at the very elevation where the mountain challenges human limits. The 4.6-mile cable car climbs nearly 5,000 feet at an incline of almost 39 degrees, carrying visitors through the clouds before stopping beneath the 430-foot-tall natural stone arch, large enough to enclose a building of about 40 stories within its opening. But that immense scale is only the beginning of the story. The cave system here has been studied by scientists using 169 dating analyses on 30 stalagmite samples, revealing the region's long geological history and how nature quietly shaped this enormous rock formation over time. After those discoveries, the real challenge begins. A staircase of 999 stone steps leads to a glass skywalk suspended above the canyon floor, where every step forces people to choose between the instinct to turn back and the determination to keep moving forward. Only when you look through the glass into the thousands of feet deep abyss below do you understand why this place is regarded as the fragile boundary between courage and the instinct for survival. Perhaps Heaven's Gate is not only the story of a mountain, it also preserves the moment when humanity realizes that nature has always been greater than anything the human eye can measure. Amid the Walinguan Mountains, sandstone pillars rise through a sea of clouds like islands suspended in the sky. Bridges and elevators cling directly to sheer cliffs, making every step deeper into the landscape feel like entering a world that never truly belonged to Earth. More than 3,000 sandstone pillars fill the core of Zhangjiajie, creating a landscape with almost no equal on the planet. Southern Sky Column stands nearly as tall as 3 Empire State Buildings stacked together, while the Bailong elevator rises 1,070 feet, holding the record as the tallest outdoor elevator in the world. Only when standing before these towering rock formations does their true scale become clear. More than 3,000 sandstone pillars spread across the heart of Zhangjiajie. Southern Sky Column alone rises 3,540 feet, nearly the height of 3 Empire State Buildings stacked together, while the Bailong elevator lifts visitors 1,070 feet and still holds the record as the world's tallest outdoor elevator. But what keeps scientists returning is not the terrain alone. Environmental DNA, EDNA, analysis conducted in 2023 confirmed that the Chinese giant salamander still survives in isolated cave systems, even though many populations have not been directly observed by humans for years. As this landscape reached beyond the scientific world, it quickly became a cultural icon. Southern Sky Column was renamed Avatar Hallelujah Mountain, while the 1,410-foot glass bridge was forced to close only 13 days after opening because the number of visitors far exceeded all expectations. Amid the sea of clouds and seemingly floating stone pillars, the boundary between reality and imagination almost completely disappears. Some places do more than inspire cinema, they make reality itself look like a fictional world. Off the Vatnsnes Peninsula in Iceland, Hvítserkur stands 50 feet tall in the waters of the North Atlantic. The slender basalt sea stack resembles a giant creature bending down to drink, making the boundary between geology and legend seem almost impossible to distinguish. What is remarkable lies in its very structure. Standing as tall as a 5-story building yet only 3 to 6 feet thick, Hvítserkur has withstood wind and waves for about 13 million years. The rock is the remaining fragment of ancient lava layers formed during the Miocene epoch, after most of the surrounding cliffs were eroded away by the ocean. But what makes Hvítserkur truly distinctive is not its shape alone. Every year, thousands of seabirds and one of Iceland's largest seal colonies return to these coastal waters. The white layer of bird droppings covering the top of the black basalt gave the sea stack its name, Hvítserkur, meaning white shirt, turning it into a striking landmark in the middle of the ocean. By 1955, local residents realized that the sea was gradually hollowing out the base of the rock. Rather than allowing the landmark to disappear, they reinforced its foundation with concrete, enabling the fragile structure to remain standing through decades of harsh conditions in the cold sea. After millions of years of resisting the ocean, what has kept Hvítserkur standing today is no longer only the strength of basalt, but also the human decision to refuse to let this landmark disappear. Amid the storms of the North Atlantic, Hvítserkur continues to quietly tell the story of a place where nature and humanity preserve time together. At first glance, the ground looks as though it has just been covered by a massive snowfall. But the white coating across the mountainside is neither ice nor salt. It is the trace left behind by hot mineral-rich waters that have quietly shaped Pamukkale for hundreds of thousands of years. What makes it remarkable is that those waters have never truly stopped building. For approximately 400,000 to 600,000 years, the mineral springs have continuously carried calcium carbonate, quietly covering about 146,000 square feet of surface every day. As a result, the terraces are not merely remnants of the past, they continue to change even today. But beneath those white stone terraces lies another story. In 2023, archaeologists discovered fossils of ancient snails and freshwater mussels, revealing traces of ecosystems that once existed here. In the same area, the geological fissure known as the Gate to Hell of Pluto continues to quietly release carbon dioxide from deep beneath the ground, just as it has for thousands of years. People have remained connected to Pamukkale from ancient times to the present day. Visitors still swim among the Roman columns submerged in Cleopatra's Pool, while many illegally built hotels have been demolished to preserve the fragile white color of the terraces for future generations. Amid this seemingly peaceful landscape, the concentration of carbon dioxide around the Gate to Hell remains high enough to cause birds and many small animals to collapse within seconds if they come too close. At Pamukkale, time is not measured in years, but in each new layer of white mineral that continues to quietly cover the mountainside. On the border between Zambia and Zimbabwe, the entire Zambezi River suddenly disappears into a gigantic chasm. Towering columns of mist rise without pause, leading local people to call this place the smoke that thunders, while the roar of the falls can be heard from miles away before the landscape comes into view. Only upon reaching the edge does the true scale of Victoria Falls become clear. The waterfall stretches for more than 5,600 feet with a drop of nearly 350 feet, forming the world's largest continuous curtain of falling water during the flood season before the entire river plunges into a chasm only a few hundred feet wide. Beneath it, the basalt bedrock, formed around 180 million years ago, continues to be slowly carved away by the river over time. But the water shapes more than rock. The dense mist also sustains an isolated rainforest in the middle of an otherwise dry landscape, home to around 900 plant species, while archaeologists have discovered stone tools nearly 2 million years old, showing that humans have been present here since the earliest chapters of history. Victoria Falls is not only part of science but also lives in the memory of local communities. After the flood of 1957, when every search effort had failed, a traditional sacrificial ritual was performed, and 3 days later, the bodies of the missing workers appeared at the exact place where the calf had disappeared. Amid the thunder of the water and the ever-rising mist, reality, history, and legend continue to merge, making Victoria far more than just a waterfall. Some rivers do more than shape the landscape, they preserve the memories of generations through their endless flow. In western Myanmar, Mrauk U was once a great metropolis protected by 18.6 miles of forest and a labyrinth of canals, rivaling London in wealth and prosperity. Low stone temples rise mist like ancient fortresses, where every sound seems to have been held in place by time. Today, Mrauk U is a quiet plain, but in the early history it ranked among the most powerful capitals in Asia. Its 18.6-mile defensive walls and intricate canal network turned the city into a fortress that was nearly impossible to conquer. Prosperity was so remarkable that European merchants compared it directly to London and called it the Venice of the East. That's reflected in its extraordinary monuments. In just 6 months, King commissioned the construction of Kothong Temple, home to around 90,000 Buddha images. Across its sandstone walls, thousands of tiny carvings, each no larger than a postage stamp, cover virtually every creating what feels like an endless miniature world. Yet Mrauk U has never belonged only to the past. Several temples were swallowed by the jungle and vanished from were rediscovered in 1996. Even today, armed conflict continues to threaten monuments that have endured for centuries, proving that the history of this ancient city is still being written. As you walk through it, where echoes once helped kings meditate in absolute silence, you realize that an empire is still whispering beneath the jungle canopy. A great shown on the map of the world, only to disappear so quietly that it seems as though it had never existed at all. Darkness gradually swallows every sound before thousands of glowing points suddenly appear across the rocky ceiling. The scene looks more like a night sky than a cave, but every single light is waiting for prey to come closer. Few people realize that behind this underground sky lies a labyrinth left behind by an ancient sea around 30 million years ago. The entire system lies beneath more than 660 feet of limestone, where sunlight has never reached. Its passageways extend for about 4,300 feet, roughly the length of 14 American football fields, placed end to end before opening into the chamber known as the cathedral, where every sound echoes in an extraordinary way. Maori had known of the cave for generations, but it was not until December 1887 that Tain Tinara and Fred Mace first entered it by raft. Looking upward, they discovered thousands of Arachnocampha luminosa larvae suspended from the ceiling, each hanging 30 to 70 sticky silk threads up to 6 inches long. Their glowing lights are not meant to illuminate the cave, but to lure flying insects directly into traps woven in the darkness. That delicate balance almost disappeared. A ventilation shaft opened in 1975 altered the cave's fragile microclimate, and within only 4 years, 96% of the glowworm population had vanished. Today, visitor numbers remain strictly controlled because even human breath alone can raise carbon dioxide levels beyond safe limits. What appears to be an underground galaxy is, in reality, thousands of tiny predators, turning their own light into the perfect trap within eternal darkness. This place proves that even a single human breath can change an entire hidden world. The seafloor beneath Greenland still preserves the enormous scars of the last ice age. Giant grooves disappear into waters deeper than 3,100 feet, where sunlight can barely reach. They are the traces left behind by ice masses so immense that Earth is no longer capable of producing them today. More than 10,000 years ago, colossal ice shelves gouged the seafloor off Greenland, leaving behind furrows deeper than 3,100 feet. That depth is equivalent to nearly 2.5 Empire State Buildings stacked underwater and is more than 3 times deeper than the marks typically created by modern icebergs. Today, drifting ice continues to shape the ocean in a different way. A study published in 2026 showed that icebergs transport rocks to depths ranging from 1,000 to 18,000 feet, creating hard rocky substrates across otherwise soft muddy seafloors. When iceberg density in the From Strait increased fourfold, corals, sponges, and sea anemones also became more abundant around these new oases. The enormous gouges still lie undisturbed on the seafloor, serving as the last traces of ice masses once powerful enough to carve the ocean in ways that the modern world can no longer produce. Hidden beneath the freezing waters, those scars continue to quietly tell the story of an Earth that once moved with a power far beyond anything humanity can observe today. From a distance, the enormous voids in the cliff make the entire mountainside appear as though its very core is missing. Only when approaching do people realize these are not caves, but the remains of a mountain that once collapsed from within. Duracas do Casmilo is what remains of a vast limestone cave network, where water quietly dissolved the rock over thousands of years before the cave ceilings could no longer support their own weight. The largest sinkholes measure more than 33 feet across and nearly 23 feet deep, large enough to hold an entire American school bus. What geologists discovered is even more remarkable. These rock cavities never existed in isolation but were all connected to the same underground tunnel system, only becoming exposed when the central portion of the mountain collapsed. Today, more than 60 climbing routes follow the limestone cliffs, while a 1.2-mile trail leads visitors through nearly 650 feet of elevation gain before the full landscape suddenly opens into view. People also adapted to this dry limestone terrain by using natural sinkholes to store water and building stone walls for grazing livestock. Even so, many still choose to drive close to the cliff edge instead of following the recommended road route. The most astonishing realization is not the enormous voids that remain, but that the entire core of the mountain once occupied the very space that now stands empty. Looking at these rock cavities today, it is hard to imagine that this was once the most solid part of the entire mountain before nature quietly took it away. Sometimes, the greatest mark nature leaves behind is not the rock that remains standing, but the part that has disappeared. Amid the Taurus Mountains of Turkey, Giden Gelmez rises more than 6,500 feet above sea level, with stone labyrinths that seem to reject human footsteps. Every path is cut apart by razor-sharp limestone ridges. It is here that the name, "Those Who Go Never Return," begins to take on a chilling meaning. Seen from above, the entire area resembles a frozen ocean of limestone. Towering cairn formations stand like countless giant blades, making even military maps at a 1:25,000 scale almost indispensable. Scattered throughout the labyrinth are vertical sinkholes reaching depths of up to 330 feet, nearly as tall as the Statue of Liberty. Deeper beneath the mountain, Pamukkale Cave descends nearly 4,900 feet, approaching the average depth of the Grand Canyon. Yet this place, which seems to belong only to stone and abyss, conceals something no one expected. In October 2025, scientists discovered an isolated population of oriental beech trees growing at an elevation of nearly 5,900 feet, about 250 miles west of the nearest previously known population. Winter makes every danger even more severe. Snow deeper than 6.5 feet blankets the rock fissures, while fog and avalanches can erase every trace. It was at one of the 330-foot deep sinkholes that the hunter Ismail Ozan fell after his rope snapped in 1941, and it took 27 years before his remains were finally recovered. Amid a seemingly endless stone labyrinth, a single misstep is enough to turn a distance of only a few feet into an abyss with no way back, where nature decides who is allowed to leave. To this day, Giden Gelmez still lives up to the warning carried in its own name, quietly testing every traveler who dares to enter. Stretching across the mountains of northern China, the Great Wall follows the ridgelines like a stone horizon that never seems to end. Standing here, distance appears to lose its meaning before the scale of history. Only when the entire system is seen from above does it become clear why this structure has never had an equal. The Great Wall extends for more than 13,171 miles, comprising 43,721 heritage sites, over 10,000 wall sections, and nearly 30,000 watchtowers. Its scale is more than 4 times the distance from the east coast to the west coast of the United States, forming the largest defensive network ever built by humans. But the walls are only the most visible part. Hollow beacon towers once transmitted signals with smoke by day and fire by night, allowing orders to cross mountain ranges at remarkable speed. Recent archaeological research has also shown that some sections of the wall in Shandong date back to the 5th century BC, making them far older than previously understood. Behind every stone stood an entire military system that operated for centuries. Beacon signals, early gunpowder rockets, and weapons depots worked together as a network that was always ready to defend the frontier. What gave the Great Wall its strength was never the walls alone, but the entire defensive machine organized behind them. Today, every stone continues across the mountains, telling the story of an ambition that outlasted both time and terrain. Some places become extraordinary not simply because they are so difficult to reach, but because they quietly change the way we see the world. Another journey still lies ahead. I'll see you there.